Hello and welcome to Alternating Creative Intellectuality. I'm AC Keeble and it's a very good time to be making this video, as I'm sure you've seen a lot of events happening across the West stemming from a crisis of violence and bloodshed taking place in Israel this week. Well, last week. I have decided to make this video to bring to your attention about this and how I link my autistic conservative objective to Zionism. In fact, I take inspiration from Zionism for my autistic conservative objective, because Zionism teaches the Jewish people's right to a homeland of their own, their ancestral homeland being Israel, and my autistic conservative objective is for the self-determination civil rights of autistics in their own home countries. Well, unlike Theodore Herzl, who saw the Jewish movement as nationalist rather than a racial movement, I see my autistic conservative objective as a celebration of bright ideas with infinite imagination to be shared around the world. We don't need a home state, but we can take inspiration from Zionism to show that autistics deserve the same level of decency and humanity to be recognised for their intelligence and integrity. Now, first of all, let's start with the context behind that big blast that's been going on in Israel. This stems from an incident taking place in Sheikh Jarrah, which is the burial place of the High Priest Shimon Hasdruk. I've got my notes here for verifying it. I got this from a blogger who I follow on YouTube called Israel Advocacy Movement, run and managed by Joseph Cohen. I recommend his videos to you because he gives a lot of interesting insights into Israel, Zionism and the Jewish movement. And I will probably do my own event in a synagogue someday, showing the connection between the Jews and autism together. Now, the land Sheikh Jarrah is from land purchased by the Jews in 1875, which resides in the modern-day West Bank. The land was captured by Jordan in 1948 during the birth of Israel, and over the years, the Jordanian government built over the land and ethnically cleansed it of its Jews. Jordan then lost the West Bank when Israel retaliated against them during the Six-Day War of 1967, and the Israeli courts went about reclaiming land that the Jewish people had bought and legally by law, they had legally bought this land for themselves to settle and rebuild their homeland after spending centuries in pogroms and diaspora scattered across the world. Now, the Israeli courts declared that the land the Jews purchased should be given back, but in an act of clemency, the Palestinian residents who occupied the land were allowed to carry on living there as long as they paid rent, which they refused. Now, after 50 years, the Palestinian residents there are being evicted by a court order. So it's a case of, a robber breaking into and seizing someone's property and is now being served a court order to move out and is being defended by a pack of savages and parasites to chant back against the original owners, which of course is really, really unfair and is a massive blood libel against the Jews and for the right of Israel's existence. Now, in the aftermath of this story, a massive wave of backlash against the Jewish nation started in Israel itself, with waves of violent protests hitting areas of Israel, with Arabs attacking Jews. I don't collectively organise all Arabs to be, anti-Semitic, but there are some Arabs who violently retaliated against the eviction order in Sheikh Jarrah, and it led to, well, something like a mini crystal gnat within Israel itself. Fortunately, however, the brave forces of the Israeli police and the local communities have banded together to try and find a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The Arabs who live in Israel themselves, specifically in the West Bank and in parts of Israel, have condemned, well, some of them have condemned the violence and want a peaceful resolution to be found, which of course I'm very grateful for, and I hope that the bloodshed can be stopped soon. However, the violence spread to the west with anti-Semitic chants shouting "Death to Jews" and "the army of Mohammed is coming," especially here in Britain. I found it absolutely shocking and horrible to watch and unfold. It's been over 70 years since the end of the Second World War, and here we are with anti-Semitism rife right across Europe. And that is making me worry that we're going to lose our Jewish cousins and friends fleeing this nation. Well, this autistic conservative and proud Britain is a staunch supporter of Zionism, and I stand rightly by my Jewish friends, for without them we would not have the modern world of trade, commerce, arts, science and innovation that we have now. To you, to the anti-Semites, the Jews are rich and powerful people who are responsible for having a sinister influence on all the world's affairs. I, however, see them as an inventive and invincible kind of people. Not as a race, but as a kind of people. Although I suppose you could say, to quote Tom Baker, an inventive, invincible species. And the Jews are an indomitable people. They are God's chosen people, and they refuse to be ruled by an aggressor. So, stand firm, Israel, and I'm glad you support autism causes yourselves. The IDF, I read a story on Facebook about this Israeli soldier who has autism and is currently serving in the IDF. Well, you've certainly shown the way of making me proud of you, Israel. Your defence forces see the talent in autism and not as a defective weakness, as the socialists and Arabic militants would say. They have a social order in which disabled people are treated as biological garbage which should not be seen or heard, and that they should die and be castrated or used as, dispensable biological garbage that should not be seen or heard. Now, what I really pushed me to make this video, and for my latest post in support of the Jewish community, is over the weekend, a Jewish rabbi was in Chigwell in Essex, was beaten up and attacked. And this rabbi also happens to be someone close to a friend of mine who adores him very much. My prayers are with him, and I hope he makes a good recovery. And of course the bastards who went after him get their comeuppance. Although what was even more revolting was a motorcade of Palestinian flag-waving cars going across North London, specifically in the Jewish areas of Finchley and Golders Green. They went through there chanting, "Fuck the Jews, rape their daughters." Oh God, I remember seeing that video and it was absolutely horrifying to watch. Here we are in a situation whereby the left is chanting that we have systematic racism in this country, and yet they are not sticking up in defence of a racist act by anti-Semitic Arabs who want the Jews dead. Well, I do not take lessons in diversity, prejudice, or racism, or any other form of, especially forms of prejudice which affect me as an autistic person. You don't believe in diversity, you follow the social order of Islamic countries, which is why they are your friends, in which the social order is structured such that if you want freedom and liberties, you have to be in favour with the collective, the supreme leader, or follow the state religion. Well, I refuse to be made a puppet or an instrument of destruction by the collective left. As far as I'm concerned, you're just a pack of stinking socialist skunks who want order and cultivate the minority communities and autistics like me into being, well, doing your own dirty work and to be enslaved to serve your own profane and evil ideas. If you really think of me as some kind of trouble amongst your, or something selfish, just because I don't follow your lead, well then, don't bother calling me racist or an Aspie supremacist. Show yourself for what you are with your ideas on social eugenics. Next time you write a political manifesto for a general election, be sure to include in it the locations of where you're going to build gas chambers and euthanasia clinics for the disabled. And of course, why you want to wipe out Israel and to eliminate the Jews from the face of the earth. And of course, to kill people like me. I'm not a trembling autistic, I'm a proud autistic and an aspirational autistic. I follow the teachings of, and am inspired by Zionism for the autistic conservative objective, because they are an indomitable and inventive species, the Jews that is, who want to build a better world that show as they are God's chosen people. We can make the world a greater place with our intelligence and our integrity. Hans Asperger once said that for success in science and art, a dash of autism is essential. We, the autistics of this world, are not pitied, pathetic creatures. We are useful, intellectual beings of great talents and abilities. And it is our right to keep ourselves alive and to stick up for our fellow human beings, especially the Jewish cousins, who have shown by example that if you build a safe sanctuary that is free, that you can defend with all your might, we can build a better world. Israel appeals to me because it's a hub of science and innovation and art and culture. I would love to go there if I could, and if ever I will, once I have my jab and I can travel to Israel itself, and of course once the violence has calmed down. I'm going to leave this video now, and I hope to God that Israel will defend itself to all its might, and that the Jewish nation will stand tall and firm against the Palestinian army's band of thugs which use all of its people as sacrificial animals. Don't fall for the blood libel that the Jews are evil. They are proud good people who know a lot about how to make peace, freedom and equality for all. which is more that those leftist scum can say. Right, now, I hope to see that this bloodshed all this will blow over, and I'll see you on the next video. Subscribe to my channel, AC Keeble, on YouTube, and follow my blog, ackeeble.co.uk. You can buy my merchandising to support the Autistic Conservative objective, and I look forward to releasing my next book, which I intend to return to and complete now that my university year is finished. And, well, it's been a good April Autism month, and I hope to see you on the other side soon. Goodbye.